Wellness Week. This is a big week for us because it's our 100th Wellness Week.
That
And
is
so
fantastic.
you are one of the
And
guest
100 is
stars.
such a beautiful
It's
number.
a great number, the centennial of Wellness Weeks. And we have an amazing guest star for us this week. That's why we had to go on location, okay? Because we couldn't get her to come to Pittsburgh from the outskirts of Atlanta. What part of Atlanta are we in?
So we're in Monroe, Georgia.
Monroe.
So it's about 45 to 50 minutes east of Atlanta, and then about 45 minutes east of Athens. So we're
Wow.
smack in the middle between Atlanta and Athens. Athens is where the University of Georgia is.
Yes, yeah.
So
I've been getting the grand tour.
You've been getting there
with our rep here, Rhonda, our girl in Georgia.
Awesome.
But this is Dr. Maribelle Verdiales, or Dr. V.
Yes, they call me Dr. V.
Dr. V.
And it's a kind of a personal joke because of what I do. I'm a gynecologist. So I will be saying the joke.
I love it. Yes, Dr.
I am
V.
Dr. V for victory and Dr. V for vagina. And if you put it all together, it's victory in the vagina.
In the vagina. I love it. That's important. I mean, where would we be without that? Right? We can't have a failure.
Actually,
there.
that was a joke that a patient told me because I kept saying Dr. V as in victory. And she goes, and Dr. V is vagina. I'm like, yeah.
And
as well, very appropriate.
Right. And as we know from the movie Kindergarten Cop, boys have a penis and girls have
vaginas.
There you go.
You got to embrace yourself.
You got to. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. We're a little bit off, this is fun. We want to have fun, right? But we also want to know, the basis of what Dr. V's doing, the success that she's having. And she has a brand new book as well, The Healing Circle. Here it is. And we will have this for you to buy at the Weiner Wellness Center at the Wellness Week. So give us a little bit of history of your journey.
Absolutely. So I am a physician by training. Okay. I'm originally from Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an OBGYN by training. But life, as you mentioned, is a journey. So the journey brought me to go back to school and become a naturopath. And the detour on the training was triggered by my husband. I am a widow. And my husband, at the age of 37, was diagnosed with terminal rectal cancer. And when cancer hits home, you're a little lost. And at first, we did what I was trained to do and go to the doctor. He was given at that point 6 months of life. And I mean, it was a very obscure, very dark environment. It really changed who I was as a person and as a woman and as a doctor. And so I took it upon myself to try to keep him alive. And I started researching, okay, what is cancer really about? Not what medical school taught me, not what residency. How does it work? What it is, you can either hide from it or embrace it. I decided to embrace it because if you find the problem, if you understand it, then you can find solutions. So I embraced it. I read about it. I started looking at every possible modality. And the more I read about cancer, then I landed on the common grounds of chronic diseases. It is all related. And ultimately, the way to prevent it is pretty related as well. Mm-hmm. So if you think about cancer, which was the condition that hit home for me, it is in the spectrum of how your immune system works.
Sure.
So with cancer, it is an immune system that is weakened. So, it is letting by defective cells. We are a factory, and the immune system is quality control. So here you are, the spectrum of the immune system. On this end, you have cancer, but the extreme of cancer is autoimmune disease. Mm-hmm. So you have an immune system that's sluggish versus an immune system that's on cocaine. Right? That is just completely attacking anything. Right? So when you think about the spectrum, right, then you can really understand that the mode of addressing getting the immune system under control can benefit more than one condition, right? Sure. So that's where I started noticing all the interlinking things between cancer and chronic disease and our way of life, and it's all related. Mm-hmm. So reality is disease can be prevented.
Right.
We are not a victim of our genetics. We're not a victim of our environment. Yes, we have some background. We have some background genetics that we have to work with, not work against, but work with. Yes, we have some habits that we need to work with. We have our environment, but we can all.
She looked at me and smiled when she said that. How do you know I have bad habits? We all do.
But it's about making the best choices that work for you. From the moment you open your eyes and think to the moment you close your eyes and you fall asleep, your sleep habits. And that is kind of what I try to put together in the book. The book actually took a toll of its own because of my own life history. For years, I've had people say, "Oh my God, you need to write a book." And I would say, okay, what do I say? I mean, it's so hard to say I'm going to write a book, especially being a single mom of 5 and struggling.
5.
Yes, I have 5 daughters.
5
So more
daughters.
of the V business.
Wow.
So it is V all day and B all night. So
5. What's the age?
daughters.
What are the ages?
So my oldest is 21. So 21, 19, 18. 15, 13.
Oh my God.
I was pregnant for 10 years. Actually, that was an inside joke in labor and delivery.
Well, should be another book in and of itself.
God.
And not only that, but stand up and show them, look at this beautiful woman. And that 5 kids came out of there.
Yes. I can definitely talk about those experiences, but so through the years, you know, I've had people say, "Hey, do this, that," and so finally, talking to one of my colleagues, I started the book in this corner, but then it took its own way, and it ended up being about the Dr. V method. So when being a physician, training the osteopathic side, but also having the naturopathic and kind of the spiritual component, I truly believe in practice that it's mind, body, soul. So
that's truly integrative.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people use that term, throw it around, but unless you have knowledge and experience from both ends of that spectrum.
That's right. And so it's really that triangle for me. So it's that mind, body, spirit, soul that is where the magic happens. And so that's how I address every patient. So I ended up having some help putting my ideas together. And it was actually one of the ladies that helped me put the book together that pointed out to me, there's a method to how you think that I didn't realize. You know, because she ended up becoming a patient. She followed me around and she saw the pattern of my behavior that I've been doing for so many years. I didn't realize. And so she goes, there's the Dr. V method here. So that's what ended the book, and then had to go back and kind of rewrite the beginning. But it is about that integration of having optimum health in breaking it down in the mind and the body and the spirit section, that eventually that's what it became.
Okay, that's great. Now, what you had mentioned about the immune system and the different ends of that spectrum as well.
Correct.
You know, one of the things we've been talking about a lot lately is, you know, people wait until something happens to address their immune system.
That is absolutely
when if you would
right.
address it on a daily basis all year round,
then you're fine.
You're fine. When flu season hits, or I call it D3D season.
Yes,
D3 deficiency season, right?
And people forget. It kind of infuriates me. I get really emotional about this. We were made perfect. Our bodies are this amazing functioning machine that is designed to, 1, regulate itself, 2, heal itself. And if you look at how nature works, it's about challenges. So the immune system has to be challenged every so often. We have earned the right to live in this planet, and we have been challenged by all the bugs that live in us and within us and around us. Okay, so
when we were kids, remember, you didn't even worry about getting your hands dirty.
That was good for you.
It was good for you, right?
That's right.
We were just talking about all the influx of hand sanitizer.
It's insanity.
Crazy.
you know, like I said, I could get a little twitchy, emotional about
I know,
it.
so do I. It's okay. It's good. The fire is good. You got to do that.
It's the Latina in me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's Sicilian in me.
There you
Right? The Sicilian.
So that's it. So
No editing on this film.
So yeah, so as a doctor having this different perspective, I don't look at you as, oh, your stupid body gave you high blood pressure.
Oh, exactly. Yes, that's so true.
It's like, no, your stupid body, actually your smart body is giving you high blood pressure because there's something going on. It is trying to self-regulate somehow, or it is giving you that red signal like the car does. Hey, hello, and it keeps knocking on the door. So you don't have to wait until you have the stroke in the hospital and go, my stupid body did this to me. No. How about the initial signals that they're just hinting you? Your body's trying to self-regulate. Could it be that you're having cardiovascular issues? It could be even a nutritional deficiency, cardiovascular issue, a nutritional deficiency, because then now your cardiovascular system has lost elasticity. It has to pump a little higher to get the oxygen to the brain, so your blood pressure goes up. You know, how about you're carrying extra weight? So that's more material that needs to be oxygenated. Your blood pressure is going to go up in order to compensate for maybe some bad habits. So it could be your high blood pressure could be an easy fix. Right.
It's not a cause.
It's not a cause, it's a symptom.
Right.
Cancer is a symptom.
Right.
High blood pressure is a symptom. Psoriasis is a symptom. Hair loss is a symptom. And in my area of specialty, fertility issues are symptoms, and bleeding issues are symptoms, and all of those things.
Absolutely, so true. You know, and it's amazing because functional medicine or functional nutrition is all about enhancing the functionality of the body, right?
That's right.
Not replacing it like allopathic medicine.
Correct. So what I explain my patients, especially the ones that are a little more resistant to some of my ways, is drugs are fantastic tools. I love drugs. Drugs are great tools, but drugs are designed to force a biochemical reaction in the body. They're not forced to heal. All right. They're not designed to heal anything.
Sure. That's right.
And they are meant to be used short term to provoke that biochemical reaction, whatever it is that you're trying to provoke. So I will use the fertility drugs. So I have this medication and I'm trying to force your body to ovulate, right? But if you don't have the biological reserve to be able to have that reaction, you won't. I can hammer you with as many drugs as I want. But if there's not that reserve in there that will do what I'm trying to force you to do, it's not going to do it, right?
Understand, yes. Now, does it work the same with men and women?
I mean, the difference between you and me is I have a V and you have a P.
A P, yes.
But the rest of the system works pretty damn good.
It's pretty much the same.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. I get you. Okay. We all have the parts, right?
We have the parts, right?
We just got to enhance their functionality.
That's right. So what do I do is, like you said, clinical nutrition is so magical because if you give the body what the body needs to heal itself, you might not need the drugs to force the biochemical reaction.
Right. There you go. Right.
You give the body what the body needs to heal itself and self-regulate. You might start ovulating on your own. You then don't need the drugs for me to force you to ovulate because you're not doing on your own. And let's say that, most of my patients, they've had bad habits for 15 years, but they actually want to be pregnant next month. Then how about we do it together? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. How about we clean up your diet to a diet that is a better choice, but still okay for you? Because I don't put people on diets. It's a lifestyle change. All right. So, and I can really talk about lifestyle change because, for example, I'm going to make a little parenthesis on this.
Okay.
You're from Italy. I'm from Puerto Rico, right?
Yes.
We grew up with certain likes and dislikes.
Yes.
Okay. So if I tell you for the rest of your life.
You're talking about food or just everything?
Food.
Okay.
Right. I mean, you talk about everything too,
I know.
right?
There's a lot of that.
If I tell you, you're not going to drink wine ever again.
I'm done. I'm out of
here. You're never having pasta ever again.
Oh,
You're never having bread ever again. Forget about olive oil.
Oh,
Mamma mia.
Mama, Madonna. Yeah.
Right?
Case of each, Jamie. What's going on here?
So I have to work with your likes, dislikes,
Yes.
and your habits to shift to a better place.
But also, let me just try to interject. You don't have to, maybe you make a change to that habit that's just subtle
Workable
enough.
for you.
Right. Like
Workable for you.
going to organic wine instead of
So
commercial
cleaning,
wine,
correct,
right?
clean your wine. How about choosing the days, choosing your evils,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're going to indulge on a Saturday, you're going to be a damn good boy on Sunday. You're going to pray yourself out of the disease. So, for example, as part of the Dr. V program, I
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm human. I like my margarita, right? Okay, if I know I'm going to have it on a Saturday, then how about doing some intermittent fasting on Monday to allow
Mhm.
my body to catch up with the
Yes,
toxicity?
I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. Actually, I do it on a regular basis.
Right?
Get that 16 hours in at least.
Yes,
right?
I like getting 18. On
Yeah,
Monday,
that's the
it's
maximum.
18 is a good, just skip
Right.
breakfast, maybe some black coffee,
Mhm.
and then have your first meal past noon.
Right.
If
See,
you do
but
6
here's
to
the thing.
noon,
I don't believe in the phrase skipping breakfast because the first meal
it is
your breakfast, no matter when
Yeah,
you have it.
But
right? Yeah.
but yes. So your first meal, so your breakfast
Yes.
is at noon or
Noon.
past noon if
There
you
you
can
go.
hold it. But it's about having a lifestyle that works for people
Right.
and in favor of their genetic composition,
Mhm.
their likes, their belief system, and their body,
So
and therefore their health.
let me ask you, as far as genetics, you mentioned it a couple of times, but it's really about epigenetics, isn't it?
It's a combination of
Combination?
both,
Okay.
and I've done a lot of personal research on that.
Mhm.
About even your emotions, how your attitudes, emotions, and your way of life.
Affect
I mean,
your
there's
genes.
a study on even longevity. I'm very much into youthful living
Mhm.
and aging science and rejuvenation science and all that good stuff. And they've done studies on centennials, people that live
Mhm.
past 100 years, and the things that they have in common are not what most people would think they do. It's more of social behavior than anything
Right.
else. So, for example,
They're not on strict diets.
No,
right?
they're not.
No.
They eat small amounts. Each one eats depending on their regional,
Right.
upbringing. They're all very social. Okay. But the one that it really struck me was they have a feeling, they have a sense and a purpose of servitude. All right. So they actually did studies in the lab. There's a few scientists out there that I like to follow about the telomere length.
Oh yeah.
Okay, which is they call it the biological clock, and we are born with 60 repetitions. So in theory, we should live 60 years, pretty much. And the difference between somebody living 60 years and somebody living past 100 is their life purpose. So talk about epigenetics.
Right.
So if that person, if you don't use it, you lose it. But that goes at a small scale and at a bigger scale. So for example, somebody that retires at 65 and goes home and sit in front of the TV and has no life purpose, they die. They literally sit down to wait for death.
Yes.
Then you have the 65-year-old that, might retire from this, but it actually is reinventing themselves, whether it's a new business, new career, exploring the world, community work. They feel that, or help their children with their children, teaching. Like once you stop having a purpose, you die.
That's right. That's why I'll never retire.
That I love that example for that's right. I'm never going to retire. I'm going to retire 6 feet under.
Yeah, I'm not going to retire.
But that's a great, talking about epigenetics. It's like it's emotions and purpose and your attitude towards life. And I mean, I can really talk about that one because that's into the spiritual, stuff, meditation.
I love that too. That's vibrational frequency,
all of that.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about a couple of your favorite nutritional frontiers formulas.
Absolutely.
Sleep time and women's complete. So what's been your experience?
Yeah, so I have a few that are definitely my favorites
Mhm.
within the company. It's funny that we were just talking about your chewable probiotic. I
Yes,
really like
Prozyme,
that, especially for children, because
yes.
getting stuff in them, it's hard.
Mhm.
And those are actually, they're tasty. I usually, if I have a jar, it's amazing. I don't have stomach problems because I overdo them. They're like, a snack, whatever. And
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody should chew one with every meal and then eat in between if you need.
Yeah. So the Woman's Complete, it was it was a joint effort past few years, and it is the best of the isolate science
Mhm.
with a food buffer.
Mhm.
And I've seen really good results on it. I've taken it myself. So you have, like, again, the science of the isolates, like the folate, the quadrifolate that you guys use and stuff, and then you have the food buffer, because you don't want to give isolates for too long. You can use them almost like medication. You have a vitamin D deficiency, you want to bring it up, but then try to see what you can do to maintain with your own habits. So same thing with a Woman's Complete is kind of a multivitamin. It's safe enough to be a prenatal, and that's how I use it in my practice. And but also it has the cofactors, the known and the unknowns that food will provide. We were designed to absorb our nutrients from food.
Right.
And when you look at vitamin C, vitamin E, they don't work as isolates. When you look at a synthetic vitamin, it says ascorbic acid, but ascorbic acid is not really vitamin C. It's the outer shell of the vitamin C complex. The same thing with vitamin E. You look at a multivitamins, it says alpha tocopherol, but it's not really alpha tocopherol. There's 4 different tocopherols, and then selenium, and then the other components that we don't quite understand yet.
And tocotrienols as
That's
well.
right. So then when you get the isolates that has been proven to work and make a difference, and you put them in that food buffer that that Woman's Complete has, you have a win-win.
Exactly. I mean, yes, we were designed to get our nutrients from food, like let food be your medicine.
Correct.
Food. But when Hippocrates came up with that phrase, we didn't
had
have
good
microwaves.
soil. Yes.
And it's good,
We had good
good
soil.
soil, no microwaves,
No
GMOs, right? So a phrase that I like to use all the time is, we can't live by food alone anymore.
Not anymore.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the reality that we live in. And so we do have to supplement the holes, and even the holes in our habits, because back with 200, 300 years ago, you had to eat the stuff in your backyard because either you ate that or you died. And we live a life that we have so much accessible to us. And think about it. Do you exactly know where that chicken came from? You don't.
You trust the label.
You trust the label. You
Yes.
trust this. Do you know where that tomato came from? You don't.
Unless you shop at your local farmer market.
And even then, but that is the best choice.
Right.
But not everybody can have that, or is willing, or has the time, or whatever. So we then fill the plug, fill the holes with supplements.
Yes.
So.
And even more reason for the probiotics and the enzymes.
Correct.
Right? To make sure.
Massive, because
What I love about Prozyme is the fact that it is a spore-based or soil-based probiotic, the Bacillus coagulans. So that was nature's first probiotic out of the soil. Correct.
And then the other one that I think is worth mentioning is the Inflammacare. I use that quite a bit. The combination in it is fantastic. It is good for fertility. There's a lot of research showing that a lot of fertility problems are either autoimmune or inflammation. So it will target both with the stuff in it. And if you look at somebody that might not need fertility treatment, but it's coming in with heavy menses, again, heavy menses is not a disease, it's a symptom.
Right.
So there's some inflammatory processes going on, and then the turmeric and some of the other components inflammatory.
What about the holy basil?
Oh, I love holy basil.
Now,
oh my God, I love holy basil.
It's used in a lot of men's formulations as well.
It's such a nice calming herb, and so not only it's an anti-inflammatory, and I think it has bacteriostatic properties, but it
Yes.
also calms you down. It's a very calming. I've used it in other combination with herbs for people with like anxiety and depression, because it kind of brings you down without making you sleepy. So it's very good. And then I will mention one more that I use a lot.
Okay.
I use it personally. I use it with my patients is the Candida supplement you have.
Yes, candy.
To me, it's the best in the market because of the combination of things.
Yeah. Well, that's what, all of those were available separately and used separately at one point. One of the things that we did at Nutritional Frontiers was try to, put them all together into one, eliminate a 6 or 7 bottle protocol.
And the beauty of it is because of the habits, again, as a nation that we have, we eat too many carbs, too many processed carbs. So Candida has become a huge problem. It's become a huge problem for females. I mean, it's become a huge problem, period. But the other issue is that they haven't developed so many anti-Candida medications, and the ones available have created so much resistance that I see so much of resistant yeast infections, vaginal yeast infections that don't respond to the traditional protocols, don't even respond to the combination protocols. And it will be the herbal angle together with trying to clean their diet the most possible that will finish the job. Also because of some of the components like the wormwood in the Candida kill.
Yes.
If you're not 100% sure what is the gut issue going on, it can serve as a Candida but also parasite. So kind of clean the gut and then come back with some probiotics and repopulate with the good guys.
Well, as you mentioned, Candida, obviously a major problem in this country, but so are parasites.
Huge. Right. I mean, it's crazy. When I talk about parasites to my patients, they look at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. That is not only a Haiti problem.
Right.
It is right in your backyard. I mean, you go outside. I travel a lot to outside the United States, and people are so aware of having, every few months a parasite program, whether it's something as simple as castor oil. I mean, you can get like even like a kit. Like my husband is from Mexico, so I go there quite a bit, and you can get a anti-parasite cleansing kit that you can just grab over the counter, because people are aware that we're not, parasites are part of our gut, and we need to make sure that they get flushed out on a regular basis.
Yeah, we have another formulation called Microgon. It's our herbal tincture. And it's an organic herbal tincture, but it's an anti-parasitic.
That's awesome.
And we, I don't travel anywhere without it, because you just don't know.
No, you don't know.
Drink the water somewhere you don't know.
That's right.
It's going to happen.
That's right.
So let's go back to sleep then.
Yes.
Because sleep's important.
Huge, massive.
I mean, I know it's important for fertility, but
it is important for everything.
Yes.
For everything. So, like I was kind of mentioning before, I'm very much into living longer, younger. Okay. And my personal niche is 40 plus. So I see a lot of like older ladies trying to get pregnant, or perimenopausal, menopausal women that want to hold on to their youth as long as possible, right? And
just women?
I do see a few men. They're usually affiliated with a patient. So I see husbands and brothers, occasional sons. But for the most part, my practice is 90% women.
Okay.
So going back to the sleep thing and the anti-aging medicine, if people understood how important sleep is and the quality of your sleep and all the factors like endocrine, depression, mental function, aging, cardiovascular, fertility, it's like huge. So I'm going to just point out a few. Most people don't realize, they think that children should sleep 8 hours a day, but adults should sleep between 7 and 9 hours of good solid sleep a night. And if they don't, they start aging longer. So for example, in the fertility world that I'm in, they use off-label human growth hormone to try to cause ovarian rejuvenation. Okay. To try, especially the ones with low ovarian reserve and, they're not doing so well. So we use that off-label for that. And did you know that the first hour of sleep, you get your peak human, your natural human growth hormone, but every 45 minutes to an hour, you get a little peak.
Oh,
Okay, so that means that if you only slept 6 hours, you're cutting down your natural peaks of human growth hormone
Right.
that happen at night. So
Mhm.
you are aging more by sleeping less.
Mhm.
And when you look at what the human growth hormone does, they use it off-label and illegally for bodybuilding and anti-aging and all that
Right.
stuff. It's bodybuilding, muscle building, maintenance, skin. I mean, it's like it has so many factors.
Well, I have a theory about that real quick. They use it because I always thought it should be called human repair hormone, not growth.
Correct.
Because that's what's
Correct.
happening.
That is
You're
what's-
repairing faster.
You're repairing
And better.
faster and
Yeah.
better, so the
Right.
functionality of the organ, whether it's
Mhm.
skin, ovary, or muscle, improves.
Right.
Right? So, and then you talk about melatonin. Melatonin, it is, even though people think of melatonin only on the sleep and what it does for sleep, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, and it is associated with some of the functions of the endocrine system. So it's a neuroendocrine hormone.
Mhm.
And so again, some of my fertility patients, they're taking exogenous, pills of melatonin. But if you just get your beauty sleep, you're going to get your natural rejuvenation at night
Mhm.
and get those ovaries to work better and the quality of your eggs to go up without adding anything additional. We talked, drugs, outside
Yes.
stuff, pushes a biochemical reaction. How about we give the body what it needs, whatever that is, including sleep, to make it work better. And I'll do that one last one, but that's not all of them. All of the, because cognitive, like how your brain works, and neurotransmitter development and stuff like that. It's production. It's very important to have that sleep. But let's talk about, a lot of my patients, they complain about weight gain and being unable to do weight loss. Well, what happens is if you don't sleep at night, there's no freaking way you're going to lose the weight, because there is a leptin resistance that gets created. Your ghrelin, which is your hunger and your hunger hormone, and also your fat deposition hormone, goes up if you're not sleeping. So you see how it comes back together to give the body what it needs?
Yes, I've heard that sleep is your body's natural life support system.
That is right.
And you need it for life.
For life.
So here's a couple little quick tidbits about sleep I want to give you. You can use these. Okay. Surgeons that get less than 6 hours sleep, their error rate goes up 178%.
I can believe that. Mm-hmm.
Think about that. That's terrible. Your memory gene doesn't kick in unless you're getting into a REM sleep.
That's right.
So if you're crashing for those finals and staying up all night, you're not going to retain that information.
It goes.
Right. Now, here's one that's directly related to what you do. That men who get less than 6 hours, I think it was 5 hours, they get 5 hours or less sleep per night, have considerably smaller testicles.
You hear that?
Now, just for the record, I routinely get 7 hours.
I'm gonna tell that to my husband. he's gonna be like, okay, that's why I sleep a lot. There's two things that make the world go round.
Yes.
Money and sex.
Money and sex.
And there's two things that you can absolutely count on: death and taxes.
Okay. Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the subject, but
yeah, you may count you may count them wrong, the taxes, but yeah.
But you can count on them.
Yeah.
If you think about human history, we've been taxed from its beginning.
Oh, from the
and
beginning.
we'll be taxed.
Yes.
And if you think about human existence, I promise you, 100%, you'll die one day.
Yeah, I know. That's what they keep telling me, but I don't know. We're going to try to prolong it as long as possible. Yeah.
The best way possible, because who wants to live 100 years old and be in a wheelchair and like drooling?
Right.
That's not my idea of happy aging.
No, that's surviving. That's not living.
No.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's funny. I do a workshop that I call "How to Live Till You Die."
Yes.
And it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with it, but we go over like 7 good principles of how to do that. The subtitle is, the title is "How to Live Till You Die," or "How to Look Good, Feel Good, and Have Great Sex."
Amen. I'll take it.
Take it. You can steal that. You can use that one. I think you probably do it better than I do. But so we are here again with Dr. Verdiales, Dr. V, and this has been a complete pleasure to interview you. I'm only sorry that you couldn't come to the Wellness Week in person, because I think you'd have standing room only there, and people would learn and have a good time.
Absolutely.
Isn't that what's important, right?
Yes.
Have a good time, and
Have
you
a good
will
time,
learn.
because you know what? Like my teenage daughters say, YOLO, you only live once. So every day, every breath is a gift from heaven.
Ooh,
so you
yes.
have to enjoy it and cherish it.
Mhm.
Breathe deeply from the diaphragm.
Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not promised, but today's a present.
That's right.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, any parting shots? How can people get a hold of you?
So
I know you can catch you on
Yes.
Facebook.
yes.
Are you
so
on YouTube as well?
I am on YouTube.
Okay.
You can look me up, Maribelle Verdiales. My last name is very unusual, so I promise you'll find me. There's, most of my patients and colleagues or potential colleagues, they'll send me a message through Messenger. The Wellness Center in Atlanta, the phone number is 770-266-0933.
Mhm.
And my website, maribelleverdiales.com.
Okay, great. And what we'll do is I know Phil in post-production, he'll put those up on the screen for us, because he's a great director. So he'll do a little bit of work. Just don't edit out any of this great stuff.
You gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh.
Laughter
Oh,
is
yes.
medicine.
Laughter is
Do
medicine.
you know that you use more muscles laughing than crying?
Yes, I believe that. Yes. Smile, laugh, right? Enjoy.
That's right. Enjoy.
Live life. Well, this has been great. Dr. V's great. Make sure if you have anybody that you know of suffering from fertility issues, look her up. Do you do virtual appointments at all?
We do virtual appointments. Actually, we have appointments all over the world.
Do you? Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. So actually, that's probably 60-70% of my practice is distant.
Is that right? Okay, well, there you go. You don't have to be here in
No.
beautiful Georgia to get this done, but just look her up. And
All right.
and the book is going to be available at the Wellness Center. Here it is, The Healing Circle. Can't wait. I'm going to read it on the plane.
All right.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So thank you very much. It's
Very
such a
good.
pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you. See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Live long and prosper.